Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking literally one of the most profound experiences of the human condition, love. Every relationship starts with those incredible butterflies, right? The late night conversations, the endless smiles, and suddenly you possess this amazing ability to completely ignore the fact that they chew with their mouth open. But then, well, reality hits. That chaotic, intoxicating honeymoon phase starts to settle down, and we transition into the stable, long-term reality of love. And let's be honest, for a lot of people, that transition, it's downright terrifying.
Have you ever caught yourself asking this exact question? Like, have you ever felt that sudden sinking spike of anxiety when the initial passion begins to fade? Because suddenly misunderstandings replace excitement. Silence replaces those deep 2 a.m. conversations. And you start looking at your partner and wondering, wait, what changed? Where did the butterflies go? It's a really scary moment. We automatically think the love has just vanished. But the truth is, it hasn't at all. The psychology of what's actually happening in your brain just changed gears.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the brain and love, from chemistry to reality.
So, when we fall in love, it turns out our brain essentially releases a highly specific chemical cocktail. We get hit with equal parts dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. It's basically nature's sneaky way of tricking us into bonding. And under this powerful chemical rush, absolutely everything feels magical. It's the exact reason your partner seems so flawless in the beginning. Even their weird little quirks become beautiful to you. It's an incredible high for sure, but biologically speaking, your brain just cannot sustain it forever.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it completely flips our perspective, because after months or years, those chemicals naturally drop off. And so many people mistake this biological cooldown for failing at love, but they're totally wrong. As it turns out, this chemical fade is a necessary transition. In fact, it is exactly where real love begins.
To truly grasp this, take a look at the massive pivot happening here. On one side, we have the beginning of a relationship, completely emotion-driven. It's reactive, it's intense, it's totally fueled by that chemical cocktail. But on the flip side, we have the long-term reality, choice-driven love. You see, a lasting relationship is no longer controlled by those fleeting emotions. When the chemicals fade, you aren't just swept away by the tide anymore. You are actively guided by deliberate choices. You literally have to choose to love your partner, even on the days when the magic isn't exactly overflowing.
Let's move on and see how this builds in Part 2. Building trust, day by day, the foundation of safety.
It's so easy to think trust is created by one grand, cinematic, romantic gesture on a Saturday night. But reality completely debunks that myth. Just look at this timeline. Monday, you kept a simple promise. Wednesday, you were honest about something, even when telling the truth was really uncomfortable. Friday, you simply showed up when you said you would. It's literally hundreds of these tiny, seemingly insignificant actions stacked on top of each other over time. That is how trust is actually built.
And why is that trust absolutely crucial? Well, because people don't stay in relationships just because life is a breeze. They stay because they feel emotionally safe. That feeling of emotional safety is the real core reason couples endure the hard times. But here's a serious warning. While trust is built incredibly slowly through all those microactions we just talked about, it can vanish in seconds. You have to protect it fiercely.
Which brings us to Part 3, the biggest relationship mistake, the communication threat.
Believe it or not, the absolute biggest reason relationships fail isn't money, it's not long distance, or just bad luck. It's how we talk to each other. Notice the huge contrast here. Most people operate entirely on the listening to reply side. When your partner is speaking, you're basically just formulating your defense or cooking up a solution in your head. But healthy communication, that lives on the listening to understand side. Imagine your partner comes to you and simply says, "I'm not okay." If you're listening to reply, you immediately try to fix the problem, or worse, you get defensive. But sometimes, actually, most times, all they need is empathetic connection. They just need you to listen to understand and simply say, "Hey, I'm here."
So the crucial point here is this fundamental mindset shift. It's huge. Taking a you versus your partner approach is totally toxic. This is where you're just trying to win the argument. But winning arguments destroys connection, period. To survive, you must shift your perspective to both of you versus the problem. You are a team. When you team up against the issue, instead of turning on each other, you build incredible resilience.
All right, let's look at Part 4, why small things matter, creating emotional security.
So how do we actively build that lasting connection? Well, consider these everyday habits. A simple thank you, a genuine apology when you inevitably mess up, a 5-minute conversation where you actually put your phone face down, yes, even if you're mid-scroll. remembering the tiny little details about their day, checking in after they've had a really tough time at work. I mean, these moments seem so incredibly ordinary, right? But relationships do not become stronger because of expensive, flashy gifts. They become stronger because of these mundane, everyday choices. It's fascinating, but these consistent, small actions create vastly more emotional security than anything else you could possibly do.
And that leads us nicely to our conclusion, choosing each other every day, the reality of love.
When you strip away all those initial chemical highs and you navigate the inevitable conflicts, what is relationship success really about? Honestly, it's simply about choosing each other, again and again. Because in the end, people rarely remember every single word you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. True relationship success is measured by how safe, how respected, and how deeply understood you make your partner feel through your daily, consistent actions.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final takeaway today. Love is not about finding the perfect person, it's about becoming the right person for someone who chooses you every single day. You see, you don't just find love, you build it, brick by brick, through deliberate, daily micro-actions and genuine understanding. So the question isn't really whether you found the right partner anymore, the real question is, how will you choose to be the right partner today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep choosing love, and I'll see you next time.